Guys, we see the thumbnail. X-Men 97. X-Men 97. Now, I don't know if any of you guys remember last time we had a show and we did the first 5 episodes. And I told you guys, we got to come back and do a season review. We have to. It's a must. It was a must, especially at the episode 5. Really, they left us at a cliffhanger, man, after episode 5, man. Look, guys, I had to rewatch it today. I rewatched all 10 of them today, man. I said, man, was there something that I missed? You know, saying that I make sure I definitely need to have the conversation about today on the show. Was it something that, man, it was, guys, it was better the second time around. And certain episodes I had to watch 3 times. I ain't gonna lie. I love this. I love what Marvel did with this animation series. I know a lot of people have started to lose favor for Marvel, and those who I guess are not truly diehard fans, y'all probably more than likely understand what's going on, right? Yeah, we pretty much can keep up. But those who are like fan because they've been seeing the live action movies, some of those, you know, may be able to keep up. Some of them may be lost because they're so, you know, they used to just watching live action movies. They're not used to watching the cartoons, maybe even checking out the comic books or whatever the situation is. I dabbed into a little bit of all of that. So I was kind of able to keep up with a lot of this. Now, I wasn't a diehard comic book guy. I can admit, I can say that I wasn't fully invested into the comic book world of it. But once I started watching a cartoon, I started getting to the comic books and wanting to know some of the backstories of some of these characters, some of their origins, some of their history behind them. How did they become who they are? You know, did they inherit their powers? Was it something they was born with, or some freak accident happened to them and they got these powers? You know, a lot of those questions I was wondering about, because, like I said, when I first started watching the cartoons, some of the origin stories didn't happen. You didn't get it. Uh, they kind of showed it on flashbacks on some of them, but not most of them. So you had to learn, go do research and go study. And pretty much that's what I did. Use the comic books as my study guide and find out some of the backstory for some of these characters, which made it even more amazing. So I love the season. I love the full season. The full 10 season was great. Um, I love the way it ended. I thought it ended well because it really sets up. Well, it sets up in a lot of things. Let me say that. If you watch it, you watching it, and it allows you to set up not only just the animation series, but are they going to use some of this setup towards the movie? Now, I don't know. I mean, I subscribe to a lot of YouTube channels that talk about the Marvel stuff and talk about the movies, and well, they talk about a little bit of everything, DC as well as Marvel, as well as other those action type movies. Um, King, I hope you enjoyed it, man. I'm sorry you can't watch it live. I understand, brother. Take care of your business. Take care of your business. Um, it was fun, man. I really enjoyed the season. King said, I think we see an onslaught next season. Damn, King, I wish you could watch live. What do you mean by that? What do you mean? Let me drop the link. I meant to put it in there prior to the show starting. I apologize. Uh, King, I'm curious when you say onslaught. What do you mean by that? Uh, it's obvious they're setting it up for Apocalypse. Uh, man, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Days of Future Past. I feel like that the actual movie, the X-Men movie, didn't really do him any justice. You know what I'm saying? They really didn't. I got you, bro. I got you. They really didn't do him any justice. And I'm looking to see where they're going to take this with now that Kevin Feige's taken over and the properties no longer belongs to Fox. I'm very interested in seeing how that plays out. I didn't like how Fox, when they did the X-Men, I didn't like how they did Apocalypse. They did him a disservice. They really did. But now that they introduced Kane into the Marvel world, I think it's going to really set it up to take it to actual, especially the actual film, not only the cartoon, the anime series, but the actual movie to a whole new level. I think the animation series is really going to help push the actual movies to be better because it was so good and it set the bar so high. Now, will they get there? I don't know. I think a lot of it's going to be on who's the actors, who they're going to have certain characters. You know, I've seen a couple rumors where They're talking about Apocalypse. Dwayne the Rock Johnson uh, is a possibility as a Apocalypse in action movie. I think that would be a. I think that would be good. I think that would be good. Uh, you're not only going to bring his name, just going to attract some probably new viewers and new fans. But when you think of and see Apocalypse in the comic books, he was a big, strong person, and so Rock is one of those guys who's already big, doesn't have to do a lot of I guess makeup on him, or well, you have to make up on because he's gonna be, if they're gonna make him all bluish or bluish gray. But they're going to, yeah. Well, I mean, how would the statics? They probably would have probably wouldn't have to do as much. Now I remember my man who played Moon Knight. I can't think of the actor's name. Who also played a couple of them Star Wars series movies. He was the Apocalypse in the Fox one. Yeah, that wasn't good. My opinion, that wasn't good at all. But I like the way the animated series is setting this up. I really do. Um, Definitely looking forward to the next season. Um, Man, my man actually he says it's gonna be an onslaught. Ah, man. Mm. I'm curious, brother. I can't. Hopefully you come up and we can definitely have that conversation. What do you mean? Why you say onslaught? I don't know. Um, the way that they split the X-Men up and they going into different time zones, like one in the present, one in the future, one in the past. Um, I'm looking forward to see how they're going to tie all of this together. Uh, where's Magneto at? Where did he end up landing? Because it didn't show him or the professor. Well, no. The professor was being held by Beast. Let me take that back. Beast was carrying the professor. But where did Magneto and I ended up? That's where I'm concerned at. I don't remember seeing where Wolverine ended up. I think Rogue was with Beast and them. So it's going to be interesting seeing where them two ended up. Um, what is the mindset of Magneto going to be? You know what I'm saying? Because the professor was trying to, get him to do the right thing, to reverse with everything that happened. Um, it was interesting how they gave you little tidbits of seeing Captain America. Matter of fact, Captain America in the animated series had a big role. He had a couple speaking parts. I thought that was good. And Rogue, took a shot at him. America's police, saying, called him that. And you could see he was kind of, when he told the president to make that call and use I guess I don't know if they call it a bomb or what was they addressing that as? I can't recall what they was addressing it as, but I guess the Magneto Eliminator. What's up, Stan, brother? Come on through, man. I know you. I know you just like me, man. I can't think of what that thing. What they said what it was, but you could see when Captain America was talking to him, how he was kind of down, or I guess somewhat second guessing his decision on telling them to go ahead and use it. I can't. Damn. I'm sure somebody in the chat. If y'all remember this, remind me of what they was calling. I forgot what they call. I thought it was something about with the some type of special magnetic bond to get rid of or deal with Magneto. So with that being said, let's kind of break down where it went from 6 on down. And episode 6 was Life Death 2. So if y'all remember, Life Death 1 was episode 4. And I wasn't, let me say this, the beginning of the show was probably my least favorite one. Terrible. I didn't understand the whole thing with Jubilee and Sunspot is what the boy's name was, but they call him Roberto, but his name is Sunspot. I didn't understand that whole thing. I thought that was stupid. It was really a waste of time, truth be told. But the guy, set up the thing. He looked like a Motendo. Now, when you see the game system on the dresser, it looks like, I want to say Sega Genesis. That's what it kind of reminded me of, sitting there on the dresser. And she said, "What is this? I don't know what this is." But they was trying to mimic it after the Nintendo. So it had the look of a Sega Genesis. I don't even want to say a Super Nintendo because it didn't look nothing like that. Because the handles kind of give it away. To me, it was more like a Sega Genesis. Now, if we all remember Sega Genesis introduced us to Sonic the Hedgehog. They also introduced me to Moonwalker, which is that Michael Jackson game. Also, Beast Wars. That I think that's the game it came with, was Beast. Yeah, Beast Wars. I believe. I want to say Beast Master. Maybe I'm thinking about the movie, but Beast Wars, where you was a man turning into a wolf or a what is that other animal? I don't know. It wasn't a bear, but I know for sure you turned into a wolf. So that's what Sega Genesis introduced us to. Not only that, it introduced me to really the first John Madden. I think the first Madden was on Sega Genesis. So it just introduced us a lot of us who was around in the 90s to those different games. But that's what it looked like to me on top of the dresser. And that first half, probably the first 15 to 20 minutes of the show was about Jubilee and Roberto going into a game system, being sucked into a game system. And of course, it was Mojo, who's probably the trashiest villain. Got to be the worst villain. Got to be the worst villain to me. But Mojo's the one who created Jane. That's why he called it Motendo, because it was named after him. But Jubilee was, celebrating her 18th birthday, and one of the things she wanted to do was go to the arcade and just have fun, be a kid, enjoy yourself. So they just came back from dealing with that stuff with Jean and Sinister. You know what I'm saying? So they feel like they could relax. And so for Julie's 18th birthday, she wanted to go to the arcade. Everybody go to the arcade and have a good time. Well, of course, Magneto said no. He refused and told them they needed to focus on training. They said, no, we're not doing all this shit. We're focusing on training and getting better, getting stronger, so we can prepare for the next adversary. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of poo-pooed that situation. So, she felt some type of way. Hunter Roberto went into the bedroom and was just chilling out and talking. And then all of a sudden they seen this game system. But they remember they had a surprise. So they thought it was a surprise from the other X-Men. And so, they was talking about playing it. And then all of a sudden Mojo sucked them into the video game. All that was a waste of time. Had nothing to do with the with the rest of the show at all. Nothing at all. So I don't know why they put that in there. I was kind of disappointed in that, but it is what it is. Maybe they just needed a filler. But if you watch later on down in the show, they went to the situation that Storm was dealing with. So, of course, by then we all know Storm had lost her powers. You know, she made the statement to Jean talking about she would love to experience life as a regular human. You know, the old saying they always say, be careful what you ask for, right? Be careful what you ask for. So unfortunately, she got shot with a gun that was created by them the guys who the humans who couldn't stand the mutants, and he only had one shot, you know. But they were trying to get Magneto instead. They didn't hit Magneto. They got Storm instead. So she suffered, you know, lost her power for a brief moment of time. And so towards the end, that's what they was talking. That was towards the end of episode 4. Is what they was going off in that on that life death part 1. So that was I want to say very important because I can't say it's not very important because it was, because the importance of it is once Storm got her power back, she was even more stronger. You know, now what it was seemed like more like a psychological thing that kept her from getting her powers, but I don't know. She had to go through some things. You know what I'm saying? She had to go through some things. She had to go through some challenges, some trials, tribulations, and she did. And unfortunately, the guy that was trying to help her was the same guy who created the protocol for them neck bands that that eliminates or keeps the mutants from using their power. So he didn't actually create it, but he just created the prototype, and they just took his idea and ran with it and actually built it to what it was. But he was a former X-Man, and he was a victim of war, and he felt like he was casted off. But you know, he felt like he needed to give back because of some of the things he did. He's seen the errors of his ways, so he wanted to make a change in life. So part of the change was giving back. Let me bring up my brother, my brother Jedi. I see he's all dressed up for the part. Go to hell, Jedi Mike. Didn't nobody give me the memo talking about I need to wear my X-Men stuff. But I see you all.
Shout out to the sponsors, the lunchbox.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Yes.
Let me bring up my other guy, Stan. Hey, we about to nerd out here now.
Hey,
guys.
what's up, guys?
What's up, fella? What's up, fella? What's up, old head?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Oh man, I was just sharing with Jedi. I said we about to nerd out right here, man.
We're about to get on.
These last six episodes.
Yes,
was the shit, man. I loved it. I love where it looks like they're going. I'm guesstimating, guys. Tell me if I'm wrong. Y'all may see something different. I love where I think they're going with this storyline. I love it. My man King said it's going to be an onslaught next season. I'm like, God damn. So I don't know about
got season 2 already. Season 2 is already done. So
that
might be season 3.
Well, maybe so. But let's talk about this season first. Now, Stan, let's stay on this season first. We don't overwhelm the people with too much of the next season. What we're gonna think. We're gonna talk about that towards the end. But what is your thoughts?
I'm glad.
Hold on, Stan.
Okay.
Jedi Mike. Let me say your name.
Yes,
Stan,
sir.
you think by him again. Jedi, what do you think about episode 6 through 10? And what's your take on it, bro?
So thank you for having me again. Nice to see you guys again.
Always.
Yeah. So as someone who does this on the side for living and everything, of reviewing movies and TV shows, interview, I'm knowing the trajectory of, especially when it comes to Disney Plus. There's always a drop off, right? Usually with these Disney Plus shows, either between a number of 9 episodes or a total of 6, right? We go into terms of live action, like MCU stuff. There's always a pacing issue where it's like, okay, some episodes be slow. Episode 5 might be, you know, the best one out of that season. Then it drops to the last final episode, just rushing the finale and also not paying off things and just doing another commercial for another.
Oh shit! I think he froze on us. Damn. All right. Yeah, I think.
Jedi, if you can hear us, go in and come back in. I mean, go out and then come back in.
Yeah, I think he froze on us. I'm gonna drop down. I don't want him looking like he looking rough right now. He like he looking like he about to sing a doo-wop song when he looking like that. I don't want to do him like that. Stan, you up, brother? Now it's your turn at bat. Are you gonna hit a home run or are you gonna hit a? Are you just gonna do?
Oh man, I'm gonna hit a home run, man. I love it, man. Like, look, this is what we need. When you come into a franchise, we do not need your interpretation. Mm-hmm. Read the comic books, watch the shows. I don't want to hear your interpretation no more. After this, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear what you think, what it should be. If that's the case, build a whole new mutants or do with the Inhumans. We do not care. They already put the legwork, the footwork, the blueprint, and comics, real comics, not that stuff we got nowadays for some $3.99 for 32 pages of just only colors, no lettering. You know what I'm saying? My kid saw an old comic book and she said, like, oh my God, there's words in here. I said, you know, the word bubbles were bigger.
She was taken back, huh?
Yeah, she's like, oh my Lord. Like, she was just surprised. Like, when were these? The 90s? For her, everything's the 90s. I'm like, no, the 80s, the 70s. And she's like, oh, they had words back then too. I'm like, girl, like, look.
She still know how to shit on your man's parade, don't she? Make you feel old, though.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? There was a whole world that existed before you were born.
So we just had a power outage outside. I think someone's working on the electricity outside, but that just happened. That happened in the whole space, but we're good now. Y'all can hear me?
Good. Welcome back, man. Go ahead.
Cool. All right. See, Holy Spirit trying to stop me. Not today. No. But anyway, so going back to what I'm saying, I was expecting a drop off. You know, where it's like, hey, where's the catch here, right? First, we get like the first 2 or 3 episodes early, and I'm like, okay, I wasn't even excited for this show. I'm like, all right, oh no, let me see what's going on. First 3 episodes, okay, good or whatever. Episode 4, all right, Jubilee Storm storyline, okay. Episode 5 completely changed the whole trajectory of the show, and I'm like, okay, all right, there's no way you can top this, and they did it. And not only did they topped it, they did it again, and not only did they top that, they did it again 4 more times, in total of 10 episodes. They have combined it at least 3 massive storylines, E for Extinction storyline, Zero Tolerance, a precursor to Age of Apocalypse, also the Love and Death storyline for Storm when she loses her powers. You also deal with the genocide of Genosha, which is also another comic book storyline. And also, not only that, they change certain things in the comics where it's like they, you know, to morph it into this entire season. And even though on paper, when people say they change stuff in the comics, people get mad about that. They change it, but they do it better because in the context of the show, it's like, all right, this makes sense why we're building up to this. When you have this Bastion character that also expanding the lore of X-Men villains from just thinking, oh, just Magneto and Apocalypse. No, there's more villains, and they expand upon that. But more importantly, to juggle all these different characters in these different arcs, right? And also different shades, different colors, or sexual orientation, whatever. All these different characters, when people call them woke and everything, this is how you do diversity. This is how you do diversity in storytelling, because you got the dudes had a shining moment. The female characters had the shining moment. Morph, who was the most controversial character in the show before it came out, and is probably somebody's favorite because it gave us some cameos throughout the whole damn season, right? And not only that, to then wrap it up, give you a cliffhanger, and each episode, unlike with other Disney Plus shows, where like, okay, do I have to watch this week by week? I mean, what's the point of this? This each episode week by week is enough for like, oh yeah, I can wait till next week. I can wait till next week because they gave me enough meat, which unfortunately a lot of Marvel Disney Plus shows have been lacking. And I said this in my review. Kevin Feige, pay attention because this past few days they just hired a writer to write the next X-Men movie live action for the MCU. No director, no actor, anything signed, attached, or anything. But the writer they got yesterday has been reported by Variety. But this is the textbook. This is the textbook how you do this, and hopefully this is a shift for the MCU to move forward in the right direction, especially when Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in July. And this also shows you that the IP of X-Men is not dead. People love X-Men, and to combine old and new generation together is something that is difficult to do, and some people have to make sacrifices. Oh, I gotta please one or the other. They did all of that, and it with all cylinders. So yeah, I don't want this to get past just some type of a show just for 10 episodes. And even though the ratings is not that high for as a television series, because it's Disney Plus streaming and stuff like that, it's his first season, that didn't really get marketed very well. Hopefully that we get the word of mouth spreads so people can bring more attention to this, because way that we can capitalize on this type of success. But the basis of this in the last remaining 4 episodes, again, with any script, any show or movie, is the writing. The writing is the foundation, and they nailed it. So I commend them on that.
For sure. What's going on, brother Smitty? Hope your night is going well, big brother.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
My man. Brother Hank, is it okay? Can I just have like 10 seconds to show my age? Is that all right, sir? Respectfully, can I show my age?
Now you about to bully my man Stan, but if Stan's all right with that, we okay with that. You okay with that?
Okay,
Stan? Right on. Stan say he good.
Stan, my man. Okay, I bet. Thank you. Okay, just 10 seconds. All right. I just had it real quick. I'm sorry. Oh, my man got the he got the character. Hey, but real talk though. I ain't gonna lie. I saw the thumbnail and there was a voice in my head that just kind of popped up and said, "Let our powers combine." And I had to come up on the panel. So definitely this X-Men thing. Can I say something about the X-Men, please? If anybody can understand me, and I'll go ahead and digress my mic. And I thank you so much, big brother Hank, Stan. You already know my mouth. I have been one personally as such a huge X-Men fan. Now, I mean, I'm DC too. I be doing like that's what we do. That's what we do. You already know, like that's what we do, right? So like my thing is, am I the only one that's been tremendously? Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on. There we go. Am I the only one that's been tremendously disappointed in just the X-Men movie franchise? Period.
Man, come on.
I'm so like Beast, one of my favorite characters. God, they have just railroaded my man. Why is he always in a suit? Why is my man not flipping and swinging from stuff? Why are we not seeing the agility and things? Like, I mean, they're just like, what? Where's Gambit been? Where's Jubilee? You were talking about my boy Morpheus. I remember the episode in the 90s when he when he got deleted. Like I actually was sad, bro. I was actually sad for an inanimate character object. That's right. And so my whole thing is when I'm looking at it, man, I just be wondering, what is it about us that for something that's been so iconic, so legendary? I honestly can say the X-Men arcade 4-player game is much better than any movie I've seen. I would rather play the arcade. I'd rather go up there and put my 50 cents up on that goddamn stand and say, I got next. Before, any other movie. So I'm just curious. I don't know if y'all tapped in. I'm just getting here. Maybe I'm late. But I just want to know, why they bombed on something. So, and we have the graphics, we got CGI, we got all of that. There's nothing holding us back from making a absolute. Why has Wolverine never been in his suit?
Yes.
God damn. Go ahead. I digress. My mic is muted. I had to get that going.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely going to touch on all of those things.
Yeah.
You have time.
My bad.
Because before we didn't want to kind of touch on it, the first 5 seasons, because we wanted to get the last 5 in and want to see where they're going to go with this. And I totally agree with you about the live series. I said it in my monologue in the beginning. Very disappointed in Fox. They did the whole series a disservice. And then when they try to re-release it with the Phoenix stuff, that was a waste of goddamn time. Yeah, I was just. Let me stop. Stan, I'm gonna let you know, brother. We're gonna definitely talk about it.
Yeah, I can explain that.
Yeah, I
Go
just
ahead,
want to say, like, again, when you leave the source material and you trying to interpret it into what you want it to be, Stan Lee purposely left a blueprint on how things were going to be. Stan Lee is the King David from the Bible when he could not build the temple for God. And he said, okay, you know what, God? Let me just go ahead and make sure everything is planned out for the future if I don't make it to the future. They did wrong with the Inhumans. They did wrong with the X-Men. They did wrong with Fantastic Four. It's right there. We don't need your interpretation. Everybody with this interpretation stuff, you didn't create it. Stop it. And also, Mutant X was a TV series that was better than the movies, which you can
Don't
see
get
free on
started
Tubi.
on
But
Punisher. Messed him up.
what's that again?
Punisher. My man Castle.
Oh man.
The other two, the first one was not bad. The number one, when his whole family on the beach, that wasn't bad at all.
With the
Bro,
Russian, yes.
Yeah. Warzone and the other jumps. Oh my god, what the fuck is this? But go ahead, though.
And don't forget what they did to Daredevil the movie. I mean, there's so much, like, yo, stick to the source material. Like, there's source material. We don't need you to interpret anything no more. Like, just stop it. Source material right there. Stick to it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I can explain on the industry.
Go ahead. But Jedi Mike, let me do the super chat real fast, big brother. Hold on. Shout out to the $10 super chat for my man Big Ant, aka my big hater, but he's still my friend. Big Ant 11 said with the $10 super said, "What's up, Ping? They're gonna take your player card for this." Well, Big Ant, let me say this: my player card been turned in ever since I got me a lady. So them days are gone. So I guess they can have the card. I'll turn it over. Go ahead, Jedi Mike.
Yeah, I actually want to explain, like, talking about why we have not gotten for so many years. Think about it. It's been 20 plus years, almost 20 plus years now that we've gotten the X-Men in the same continuity. Even when they tried to reboot it with X-Men First Class, they still connected it and just made a prequel series with X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix stuff. We have not got a new clean reboot with X-Men, right? Which is why when the writer that got assigned for the MCU project yesterday, it's setting the stage like, hey, we're getting a clean slate. But depending on when that movie is going to come out, which most likely probably in 2027 after Secret Wars, when they reboot and everything, there's a whole thing about in the industry which is called the legal rights with Fox, right? Because they didn't own the X-Men in terms of Marvel Studios, and actually Marvel Studios was under bankruptcy, which is why they had to sell all their characters off to other different parties. Sony had received Spider-Man. Fox, they were sold Blade, they were sold Daredevil, all the other projects and stuff, Fantastic Four, all those things. And now here we are with X-Men. We're the precursors of the comic book industry where we are today. We're back in probably 2000. We probably wouldn't have accepted, the yellow suits, and even made a joke about that in the X-Men first film with Bryan Singer in 2000. I think in the year 2000. But now for so many years when we've done with the Marvel universe, we've done Doctor Strange and other stuff like that. We've got to the outworld comic book nature of it, the Jack Kirby of it all, of it all. And now that in a film, seeing Wolverine in his iconic look now is not that jarring for fans. Now we accepted it, but it took it almost 20 years to build the industry. Now it's that, we can normalize you doing more comic book accurate stuff. Now it comes with Beast, especially when you saw in the Marvels in the end credit scene, that was a fully CGI Beast. He just had a lab coat and just the shorts. I'm like, all right, I like the designs, are cool, but I need to see this nigga in action, right? But I'll say this in terms of the statement is that you saw in the show, because we talked about this episode, the finale, there's a lot of cameos. I want to let y'all remember this. Nobody gave a fuck about the Avengers back in the 90s. Nobody gave a fuck about the Avengers. It was all X-Men and Spider-Man. Nobody cared about any of these other Iron Man and Captain America. They didn't care. Nobody cared about them. So when we see these cameos in the show now, I was like, oh, great. But that's because of the movies, right? You see, the movies made these characters popular. Thor wasn't a popular comic book character. He was known, but the X-Men were your IP for Marvel, right?
But wait, Jedi, but real quick, brother, I love the role you're on, but I would say, like me, my characters have always been those outskirts, the Nightcrawlers, the Sabretooths, the Juggernauts, the Morpheus and the Gambits and all of that. Iceman. My point is in saying that, is it that nobody was really caring about them, or is it that true fans like us have been waiting for that shit? And even after, like you said, 20 years, they still couldn't get Wolverine sleeves right. That became a big goddamn thing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I got
well, speaking of Gambit, there was a movie that was going to be made of a Gambit, a standalone film back in
from
2018.
Right?
Right.
When he featured, right? And he was at the bar. I'm already there.
But there's going to be a separate movie. So that the one you talked about was Taylor Kitchen, X-Men Origins Wolverine back in like 2009 or something like that. But there's going to be a movie, a standalone movie for Gambit, and it's going to be played by Channing Tatum. Right, he came on the stage on Comic-Con and everything, and that movie got canceled because at that time, that's when they got bought by Disney, and a lot of the projects that they were going to develop got canned. That's the same thing happened with New Mutants. Remember that little small horror movie that everybody, probably nobody saw and stuff? Yeah, and that got delayed. Yeah, that's because of the Disney acquisition and everything. But yeah, so Gambit was going to be a standalone film, and possibly he might show up in Deadpool as Channing Tatum as a joke, but in there. But yeah, that was supposed to happen. But you're talking about the Nightcrawlers and all that stuff like that. These characters, again, talking about this, have many different types of personalities and events about with their characters. For example, you have Nightcrawler who's praying. He's citing the Lord's Prayer, while you have, Wolverine and Morph on the side and stuff like that. But at the same time, you have Magneto being this extremist, and then shutting up Professor X and stuff like that. All these different dynamics and stuff make what the X-Men are. But I think, again, we're talking about today in political agenda, how we just want to politicize every movie, TV show we do to give a message, when really we should just tell a freaking good story, which is the root of how we, inspire positive message. Is that, that story was great. I learned something. I learned something from the Matrix trilogy. I learned something for Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, Star Wars, growing up watching my father. But I wasn't watching a political statement, and I think that's in this show was dropping bars and quotes and this, powerful quotes in this show. Like seriously, Magneto was dropping lines, everything. Rogue, and even when the decisions that they're making, when they're separating as teams and stuff, and someone aside with Magneto, someone make with Professor X and everything, even when it caused discourse and conflict, you understand why they're making those decisions.
No, I learned so much more about Magneto. I didn't realize he's really not a villain. He's just like, I look at it as Professor X is Dr. King and Malcolm X would be Magneto. He's like, nah, we going a hard route with it, right? But my main thing is, more than anything that we look at, I just be really curious as far as all right, this is where I really look at as where the X-Men whole everything failed. They never had any for art. So let's take the first one. They never had no kind of real continuing sequelish. It never was like, oh shit, this one, and okay, what's next? Like, I would give a good example, like my honest, perfect example that I believe during the time in which it came out, all three was Magnificent Mortal Kombat. They did the characters right, they did the storyline right. Each one that they did that they added, it was more characters from you. Now you seeing Baraka, now you're seeing Melina and Katana. They added things and it didn't throw you off. Each X-Men movie is like a brand new start. It's never no like, hold on, wait a minute, but I still want to know what happened in the last one. Hold on, so what happened with the? Oh, so we just start new. Oh, so now it's a brand new character. Oh, so he's not in it now. Oh, so where's such and such? Did they die? I don't know who. So it's like it's always this like real weird.
The continuity is messed up. The
Yeah,
continuity is definitely.
it's no flow. It's not a flow to the whole everything that comes with it. I would say more than anything myself, but I digress. My mic is muted. And I got a question, brother Hank and Stan, when I'm allowed to, because I respect y'all so much. When I'm allowed.
No, you good. You good. Now, look, I know Jedi. You was talking about how some of the movies and how some of each episode kind of set up for the next storyline. One I didn't hear you mention is one I seen and I looked and I'm thinking, dude, this is setting it up, and that's setting up for the X-Men versus the Avengers.
Dang, bingo.
That's the storyline. When I watch Steve Rogers make that decision, oh, that's gonna be the reason why they're gonna go head to head right there, because he's gonna feel like he tried to end them. He tried to get rid of them because he see them more as a problem than a solution. That's what I'm thinking.
Can we talk about that Captain America imagery?
I could be totally off. I could be totally
off.
No. I was waiting. But go ahead.
That's what it seems like to me. Go ahead,
You
Stan.
spot on, because when I saw that, right, the questions I have right now in the year 2024, these mutants are Americans, sir. Mm-hmm. Aren't they U.S. citizens? Don't you stand for America? So, you only protect a certain class of Americans, huh?
Well, I will say this though, to be
Ain't
fair.
Ain't that life?
Right.
You heard
bingo.
He called him America's police officer. That's what she called him. Now, of course, it was jokingly, but it's that's what it is. And so when you sit there and say that, Stan, it's only a certain class of people. Well, that's America. That's what we deal with, right? Us as people of color, blacks, Mexicans, whatever, any man of color or any individual of color, that's what we deal with. So this is life.
I'll say this.
Scary, but this is what it is. But go ahead, Mike.
Y'all lead me right to my question. Keep going.
Yeah, but no, right. But when I talk about how they topped it, because you think, they dropping the ball, like, or like, with the genocide of Genosha, which was like, especially with Gambit and everything, man. But episode 7 was when Magneto, after he's been freed, he's like, fuck this. I am turning this whole fucking planet lights off tonight. Y'all not paying the bill today. Lights off. And then and then you saw the world implications of, you seen Spider-Man, you seen Omega Red, and you seen, a freaking Silver Samurai and stuff. But then it stops there. Right. But then it stops there, because I'm like talking with my colleagues and stuff like, okay, I'm just going to show Spider-Man. Like, wait a minute, you think Black Panther, like the Wakandans, like are not going to be like, you turn off our freaking base and everything. We can't protect Wakanda now. Can you turn electricity off? You think they're not going to respond to this shit? And then guess what we see? We see King T'Chaka. I thought that nigga was dead. Like, think about it. And it's a continuity error, because in the original, back in I think 1992 or 3, I know my history, y'all. I was born in 98, but I know my history. I respect it. But back in, I think, the Fantastic Four, when Black Panther cameoed on one of the episodes, he came in there to avenge his father's death because Claw killed him, right? But if you watch this episode, the finale, and you see the Black Panther unmasked and everything, which obviously resembles Chadwick Boseman features, but you see the voice in subtitles, it says T'Chaka. So I'm thinking, so wait, So is T'Chaka not dead? And then is T'Challa just the Black Panther but not King? But then the Marvel producer, he also said that all the animated shows, Spider-Man animated series and all stuff, the continuity is connected. But that was a plot hole of that King T'Chaka is supposed to be dead right now. So I'm confused what they were trying to do there. But that was a plot hole. But yeah, no, it's Avengers versus X-Men. Like especially seeing Daredevil, Cloak and Dagger, all those people like that. It's a response. But with Captain America, he definitely, you saw his reaction where he's like, okay, I know I don't want to ignite the Magneto protocol, but I'm out, the control's out of my hands. They're going to do this, and I don't want them to do this because I'm friends with the X-Men. But because Magneto shut the electricity of planet Earth down, you think logically, what would the government do? They're like, no.
How logic can you get? You're a superpower being. You're next. The Sentinels see you as next. You're not human.
Listen, I'm just saying I understand the decision that they were making, especially when I saw Cap and Iron Man together and with the government officials, with President Kelly and also it made absolutely sense. When you shut and then they said, oh, we got 24 hours before the world about to end. Come on. Like I understand. Do I agree with it? No.
Who started the war? It wasn't Magneto. I want to put that out right now. Magneto didn't start the war.
I agree. I believe the humans had, or President Kelly and them probably had a part to play. Not just the senator lady who was helping Bastion. I believe they were involved with the whole thing with Genosha. They knew it was going to happen and stuff. Yep. And I think that's probably going to be revealed later on. But I think in terms of the next 2 seasons, because we got 3 seasons already confirmed. They're writing season 3 right now, or making it, but I believe season 2 is going to be the Age of Apocalypse, possibly Onslaught and everything. I don't know if it's confirmed Onslaught, but it looks like it's heading that direction. But it's going to be Apocalypse. And then season 3, I think it's going to be the precursor to Avengers versus X-Men. I think that's the more proper build up, because now they're displacing different timelines and everything. But now at the end of season 2, which again is stated in the comics, they revive Gambit. Gambit gonna be one of the Horsemen of Death for Apocalypse, like in the comics and stuff. They'll be fine, everyone. And then once everyone in the same timeline and the X-Men are back to get in the same continuity, the government be like, hey, so yeah, we're going to war with y'all. So yeah, Avengers versus X-Men. That's what's gonna happen. I guarantee you.
It's not gonna be good.
So Mike, you think they shoot for episode 3? I mean season 3?
For Avengers versus X-Men, absolutely. And I think that's the build up. That's a proper build up, because again, like they're doing these massive storylines like in 20 minutes, which is like crazy. We got the entire We got the entire Goblin Queen with Madeline Pryor in freaking 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Come on.
That was a lot of reading for the real ones.
I was like, wait, hold up. I'm like,
that was a lot of reading for us. But you know something? I'm gonna be real with y'all though, and if it's I want to ask this too, but I just want to throw this in. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm just gonna say it. And any of us who are true fans of how the authenticity of these things should be played out, I think we need to just hand X-Men over to the Japs. That's right. Hand it over to the Japanese. No, listen. I'm talking about imagery. Yes, bro. You know where I'm going.
Yeah. Okay.
They do that shit right, bro. Them characters be looking exactly how they do on that anime. They be having that storyline piece by piece. You like, oh yeah, I remember this part. Yes, this is when Ichigo died or whatever. Yeah, this is when he got his sword. Or I be peeping at like, dog. I don't know what it's like. Did you see how like? So if anybody knows, if you like, okay, DBZ, and I'm not changing it, brother Hinkenstein.
No,
for example, DBZ, I have that bullshit we made over here. What was that? They had one of the Backstreet Boys playing Goku. Okay. I mean, it was just weird. Seriously.
Yeah.
Piccolo looked like pinheads minus the pins. I mean, it was just terrible.
Yep.
But then I've looked at like underground jumps with like Naruto, BBC. It is out of this world. I mean, the characters from Nappa, you name it, they are on point. And so all I'm saying is I think we need to do that. But to get to where we was at when you was talking about like the imagery of the characters, I want to ask y'all this because I don't know if I'm the only one that's peeped this, but I definitely have, is the tokenization of characters. Now I'm talking about the black characters, like for example, how they tried to make Falcon. They tried to make Falcon Captain America. Why is he? Why are you doing that? Because why are you trying to make a black Spider-Man, a black Superman? I don't like it. I'm saying it. I don't like it. We have so many characters. Why are you not? Why are you not harnessing Bishop?
Icon.
Come
on. Yeah.
Stop playing with me. Like we got so many black characters. You don't have to take already made like characters and make a black version of it. Please, somebody I hate the tokenization, but rock out.
No, you are on track, my friend. You're on track. Because listen, because I went to CinemaCon in Vegas on April, and we actually saw footage for the next Captain America movie which come out next year and stuff. And even though it looks promising, I'm gonna tell you this, right? I was me and my other colleagues and stuff. We were talking to other journalists, white ones, right, and talking about like how they're talking about Black Panther. Not talking about Black Panther. I'm talking about Captain America with Sam Wilson and stuff, and like you're excited. I'm like, no, we're not excited. And I simply said this: Sam Wilson's Captain America is not our hero. Plain and simple. See, Storm's our hero. Black Panther's our hero. John Stewart, Green Lantern, is our hero. Virgil Hawkins, Static Shock is our hero.
Spawn is our hero.
Spawn is our hero.
I love it.
Our anti-hero, right?
Don't forget Luke Cage, Bishop.
Yeah, come on. But what I'm trying to say is that you talk about the tokenization because with certain characters, particularly two of them, with Bishop and with Storm, and the fact that again, this is how you talk about the diversity that you use putting these characters in these positions to be fully authentic, right? Storm is one of the most OP Omega level mutants in the Marvel universe.
Yes, she is. She up there damn near with Jean Grey in them. Yes, she is.
Right. And the fact that not that you nerfed her in the first or second episode, it made sense because you were taking her in an arc, which one thing we get issue with is that, especially we see these Marvel, like these movies, when yes, I love a representation, but yet we're human characters too. Like, I don't have to be like, oh, you're just invincible and everything. No. But then you're not giving me the same complexity of writing you give to these white characters. That's not fair.
No. You're right on point because I'm gonna tell you right now, me personally, I look at my black ass, wide nose, thick lips. Look at this nappy ass head. When I tell you, and I ain't talking about the money wise, but just the ingenuity and thinking and just him, Bruce Wayne, I relate to him. That white man, that rich ass white man. He don't have to be. You see what I'm saying? So this representation shit is weird. All the way down to them coming down with these characters called Safe Space and all of this shit. Like it's some weird stuff going on. So I mean, I get what you're saying. Like there are so many characters I've been able to relate to that have nothing to do with my race or ethnicity or nothing. I love these characters because of their like qualities and their personality and their powers. Like I like teleportation. I don't give a fuck if you Asian, black, white, whatever. I don't give a damn. I like teleporting. So if you that mutant that got teleportation, I'm down with you. It's certain things I'm into. But go ahead. I digress.
And the X-Men was woke before there was woke. It didn't need
That's true.
It never needed to be woke. It was already there. It
was there, bro.
And people don't understand that today. And what people don't understand is that you talk about what term woke, right? I'm old enough to remember what it meant when, especially in culture, when the Get Out film came out, right? When Jordan Peele came out, that term wokeness came out, and people are like, oh yeah, this is talking about woke. But what came today is now go to the ethics of pandering an agenda and forcing it down your throat instead of actually to educate and actually just go back to the basis of being aware of environment and social cues and everything like that, right? That's not what woke originally what it's supposed to be. What X-Men, what Stan Lee was talking about was that, hey, listen, I made these characters. I'm gonna put it plain to simple. The X-Men are the niggas of the Marvel universe. Seriously, right? They get mistreated and everything, they put in the position and stuff, and they're literally based off the civil rights movement. That's basically what Stan Lee said, since day one. But what this show does is though, it tackle issues that make it that regardless of your race and whatever category you want to put yourself in, like these characters were relatable. You felt you were put in positions where you might have felt forgotten, felt abandoned, right? And then that you were felt that you probably had your tag team of people because you felt like an outcast. And then also in situations for us as Black people, regardless of you being persecuted, you also were born this way, which is one of the lines that even the villain of the show said, I was just born this way. That what Bastion said, a villain. Right,
and you see when the Morlocks went to Genosha, it's like going back to Africa. It was like, why didn't Charles send them to Genosha? Or basically, why he didn't send the Black people back to Africa, where there'll be more like them over there? But it was relatable.
Right.
It was relatable. And on this one, like Magneto is not the villain that they're always trying to push, that he was the bad guy, and it was like, no, there's something about self-perseverance. That's what I didn't like about Charles. When he told Charles to shut up, I was the same way. Like, yo, you don't come back here after 9 episodes and go and teach me kumbaya and tell me about like God said to turn the other cheeks. Nah, bruh. No. Are
when
you
I've
kidding
already
me?
did it your way, Charles, I'm done. Like they burn, they vaporize a person who promised me that I'll protect them and everything. And even also, this isn't Fox Kids, ladies and gentlemen. They had to do the terms of the concentration camps. You heard the German boots of his trauma and and stuff like that. They couldn't do that back in the 90s on Fox Kids, but we have the benefits of streaming now. We can do that, right? That's where I appreciate that different nationalities, religions, and whatever category, is they still cohesive together, which is what the world hopefully should reflect, right? But again, you're gonna have his conflicts, even in your own group of people. You're gonna have conflict, just like the X-Men. When Professor X came back and Cyclops went back and forth, Cyclops wasn't like forgiving him. Hey, I'm mad at you, bro. Like you put us in this position. You gave the X-Men to him, and I'm your son. That's the thing. I'm your son. Yeah, I was a leader, and you gave it to him, and now we're in this predicament. So yeah, I absolutely understand.
Yep.
Well, let me welcome my man, Brother Rush in. Brother Rush, how you doing tonight, big brother? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good, feeling great, man. Yo, I didn't like how this show got Professor X looking like a simp, man. He's sipping hard for Shorty from the Shi'ar Empire, man, and I didn't like that, man. He abandoned his own camp for the Shi'ar Empire chick, man. I thought that was crazy, man. I'm like, I know
The
this nigga
X-Men
ain't
to red
sipping.
pills.
I'm like, yo, this is
have
such
to,
a thing.
hey, when you get that bomb ass booty, you start doing things you normally don't do. You start
I see that.
Intergalactic booty. The intergalactic booty.
Yeah,
And Deathbird, like disrespectful self, gonna call us the ghetto, Earth, the galactic ghetto. I was like, didn't you get buzzed down by Bishop?
Exactly. They called the Milky Way the ghetto. Come on.
She got buzzed down and got a baby daddy from Bishop. Like, who you calling ghetto?
Man.
So now we got Simpson baby mamas in the X-Men. This is see. This is why we need to give it to the Japs now. God, we are going down. We are going down.
Hey, she said you go back to your ghetto kid. Oh my God, damn.
Okay, when we drive through, we roll our windows up in our spaceship. Like, what?
Seriously.
Oh,
Hey, but you know something real quick though to what the brother Jedi was saying. I was so disappointed. I get you in that whole representation thing, and I do not want to go too far off into this realm, but just to, just dip the toe in it. One of my favorite characters. One of my favorites. All right, Robin.
Yeah.
Which Robin? Which one though?
Dick Gracie.
Thank you.
Come on now. We know our shit.
See,
Dick Gracie,
I was like, which one's your favorite?
Nah, dog. So my whole point is, like just for example, it's like dog. Like when you talk about that whole representation thing, like, did we really have to give him a boyfriend?
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
you talking about with Tim Drake. You talking about Tim Drake, Robin?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but it's Robin. Like you know
Yes.
what I'm saying. Like it's Robin. But did we have to do that?
Yeah,
Why?
it's a
And why
reflection of the
now?
times. It's the Teen
Because
Titans or the
watch this,
Young
Stan. Because
Justice.
this is where I'm gonna go to. Because I was talking about this before, as far as like not to, but just like, yo, you know why these damn right here has always been so precious to me is because even though my father is still in my life and everything. My dad, still around. But my point is, like, we came up, my as an 80s baby, as a millennial, we came up in a time where even those of us who didn't have dad, we had that imagination outlet of masculinity to relate and get away to. We had that in our superheroes, and it's like you fucking with that. You now you messing with that. You know what you're doing, and it's like I don't like that, bruh. Like, so when you're talking about like how things have switched and flipped and everything, like they really have made things really about because a lot of people have said it. The From the MCU and all of that, it's like a lot of the fans have gone away for the most part, or distancing themselves, or starting their own thing and becoming independent, because you got a lot of them trying to acquiesce to basically people's feelings as opposed to just sticking to the storyline. We just want you to give us what we read. I was reading this one day. That didn't happen. Hold on, where did this come from? Hold on. How come they didn't add this? No, this is the part when they supposed to have, and it's like everything is thrown off. And so it's like with us, it's like, bro, when you like see, who really be enjoying them X-Men movies or whatever? People who aren't real fans, people who never really read it, people who didn't have the action figures, couldn't wait to get that to rip that plastic. They the ones who like the movie. Cause you don't realize, no, this shit is all effed up. I don't know what this is. But I
Oh,
digress.
don't
My mic is
forget,
muted. Rock
and
out.
don't forget VHS in the morning on Saturday mornings, so you can watch it again. Because we didn't have cable or on demand back in the day, so that VHS record, that was our best friend.
And don't you let it do it. And don't you dare do it over mama's stories. You better not do it over your mother. You better not have all my children bust out and be like, pew, pew. You better not have that. I'm telling you right now. I'm just having a flashback. I did that shit before. That didn't turn out good for me.
Yeah, but I don't know what you said about like the attack of masculinity. You saw it in the X-Men when you saw Roberto, and it's kind of like he's a reflection of what we
Yes.
have now, as what they
Yes.
call it, the soy boys, where he was just so like, I'll just pay with a credit card and whatever, and I just want to go to a club, and I'm just like, dude, like, you have no urgency, like no priority, like nothing.
Stan. Same thing. They did it with Teen Titans. Back in the day, Toonami Teen Titans, that shit was job raw. Man, you look at Teen Titans now, it's like, what are they doing? What
Yo,
is this?
I don't like how
Where
they
are the
made
fight scenes? Where are the battles?
I don't like how they made Aqualad a cocksucker, man. Like, he kissing dudes on the
True.
show and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the Young
I was
Justice. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Young Justice season 3 on definitely goes in the far like non-polygam, like the polygamous stuff like that. Man, it gets weird, man. I'm not, and but
Yeah.
I will talk about masculinity. Come on, I'll be honest with you. Like I'm 25, right? I'm gonna hope you guys make you feel older. But like Cyclops been a
You
bitch for
fossil.
25 years. Like Cyclops in the movie's been a bitch for over 20 years.
Yeah.
For over 20 years.
Also in the cartoon.
Well,
but yo, Scott Summers always been a sucker though. Like I'm used to him being a sucker. You know what I mean?
Well, to me, I feel Cyclops, the way they done Captain America with the Avengers, I always want to see that type of version, at least the way he carried himself with Cyclops in the X-Men live action. And I feel like we never gotten that. Like when he coming down episode 1 and and blasting, like that was badass, right? But him being the leader of the X-Men and also balancing the popularity of Wolverine. Listen, Wolverine was kind of in a back seat this season. Let's be honest, right? You know, like he
Is his
wasn't.
name really Wolverine, or should we call him by his real name?
Oh no. Oh
Golden
no. No.
Retriever. That's his
Blade.
real name, Golden Retriever. For
Stan.
Professor X.
Blade. The Blade series. They made a fucking woman the main character. Blade was like in the back. He was like third, fourth. It's called Blade in the dog. Look at the series. The new jump that's out. It was some
Yeah, yeah.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
and if
trash.
anybody looking for that, it's on
Because
Tubi,
he wasn't even the
and it's
main
free on
character. He
Tubi.
was
Don't
like a
spend no
guest
money.
star on his own shit.
And they're struggling making a movie right now. They announced Mahershala Ali's Blade back in 2019, and it's gone through massive rewrites and everything. They're just now starting to get it, but most likely Blade is scheduled to come out next year in 2025. But from the looks of it, it's probably going to be pushed again because
Right.
Mahershala Ali been announced for over at this point for almost 4 or 5 years at this point, and we have seen nothing for Blade except for an off-screen cameo.
It's terrible, man. And in the movies, Blade trilogy, you know, that was awesome. Wesley did it, and they never recovered since. I don't know, man. They ain't recovered since. But
Yeah,
like,
You know that
like on
movie
that
Blade.
Blade one, Stan, they did the same thing to him though.
That movie Blade saved Marvel from becoming bankrupt. You know that movie actually saved Marvel.
Absolutely.
The first Blade, the second Blade though, yo, incredible from start to finish, straight up action.
When the
Like
white dude became the Daywalker, right?
no, that's the first one.
No, yeah.
The first.
Yeah.
You talking about Frost? Yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah, Frost. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, look.
but there is
look,
attack on masculinity, so I don't know
Wait,
what we're
wait.
gonna do. I'm sorry. I think there's an attack on masculinity because even when you look at Amazon Jack Reacher, right? That's like one of the hottest show on Amazon, right? And here it is, a white male lead who was masculine, and then you have people writing in like, "Oh, he doesn't represent." I'm like, "Yo, this is what people watch. We don't want to watch." I don't want to watch like a Roberto who's constantly doubting himself. It was like watching Smallville. Smallville was an example for. I just couldn't see Smallville. At the
Oh,
What?
really?
point of
Hold
it
on.
being,
Smallville was the good
I ain't
shit.
gonna lie. I
was the
did
shit.
like
what to
that
do with
intro
my
Smallville was
song.
the
powers.
shit.
That
I
intro
don't know what to
song
do
was
with my
Let's
like
not
that.
hate on
powers.
Oh,
That was
Smallville,
my
man.
shit.
Come
I don't know
on.
what to do with my power. Season 2. I don't know
Hey,
what
oh
to do with
no.
my power, Lois.
I
Season 3. I don't know what to do with my power. I went to
Oh,
season 10.
hold on.
I want the
To,
blur, but I don't want to be
to,
found out.
to me,
Smallville, you're taking a small doses.
oh no, I
I
disagree.
like Smallville. I like Smallville because it shows the development process of Clark becoming Superman. I mean, it's the show's equivalent to that TV show Gotham. You get to see like the Penguin before he becomes the Penguin, Poison Ivy before the Poison Ivy, Catwoman before she becomes
Gotham
Catwoman.
was alright.
Like you
Gotham
see
was
they
alright.
trials
Yeah,
and
Gotham was all right.
tribulations. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Which
No, let's
I
just keep it
like.
real.
But it was a
Everybody
backseat
grew
on
up.
Batman.
Everybody grew up except for Clark. It took him 10 seasons to get used to it. And then when we see on Earth Crisis, he gave up his power so he could be a farm man. And I believe, now if I look at Smallville again, which I have, could it be that Smallville wasn't about Clark, but about Chloe? Because who else would have took the powers away from Clark and then take it from
Oh no,
there?
I
Because
disagree. I disagree.
I'm just
Respectfully.
saying, but he's just been crying for 10 seasons. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, that was 2 weeks, and she ready to kick some ass for 7 years. Clark, I don't know what to do with my powers. I'm from outer space. I'm an orphan.
Well,
Somebody help me.
you have
I'm
to.
like, and then he had
Yo,
2 boyfriends.
hold on.
He
Well,
like
what about yo,
billionaires.
hold on. Wait a minute. It wasn't like that the whole 10th season.
It was
It
exactly.
Season 3,
was.
he had
I
the
was
red kryptonite,
crying.
my nigga. That nigga was robbing banks, running up on nigga. Come on,
Oh,
man. Don't
my
hate on
bad.
Smallville, man.
My
The
bad. So
blur.
when one
The
of his
blur.
boyfriends gave
Come
him a
on.
red ruby, he either belonged to Lex Luthor or what's his name, or the dude Green Arrow. He liked billionaires. So like after that makes sense because later he went to Batman.
They
He's
couldn't do Batman on TV because of a license because they were doing the Dark Knight trilogy at the same time. So that's also this is a thing. Legally, there was a whole mandate in WBTV, which is why in Gotham you really didn't see Batman until like the very end, and they were very trying to light on how to put Batman on TV with that. Listen,
Okay.
I'm gonna say this
Okay.
right
So
now.
that was okay. Okay.
Right. This is the thing.
Jedi,
In
Jedi,
history.
take the back check
Go
real
ahead.
fast.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. You tell me. All right. So, Superman is throughout history has been a good TV character. Lois and Clark. The new show Superman and Lois, Smallville for 10 seasons and stuff. Superman's a great TV character. We're talking about Batman. Batman's been a great movie character. They've been riding off the coattails for Batman for over the last 25 years, almost 30 years, to be honest with you. Right.
Green Arrowverse was better than Batman. I'll leave it at that.
Nah, all right. So look, this is what it is because Bruce is my man. Like majority of everything that I got over here right now. That's what I do. Oh shit, my bad. So look, this is the thing, right? Hold on, what the fuck? Okay, so this is the thing. It had an awesome back in the day, 80s. The all right, bet. Batman as a series was absolutely awesome cartoon wise.
Yes.
That man, what the Batman animated series?
Justice
That
League Unlimited. Come on.
Man, absolutely out of this world.
Shout out to Bruce Timm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, cartoon wise, so I would say show wise, Batman has been on point, but it's just besides that one from way back, I don't know. Hank, you old enough to know. I don't know.
Hold on,
What was like
saying?
70s?
He's not that. He's not.
Huh?
Hank is not old. You talking about the one from the
I know
60s that ran
I'm
on
just saying he
syndication
old enough to
for
know.
50 years.
I'm saying the original Batman
Y'all
with
old
him
enough
and
to know
Robin.
too, because y'all watched it too. Look, like I be telling my
I
daughter,
used to
nobody
watch
cared
it
about us
too.
kids growing up. It took until 1999 that we finally got our own network as teenagers and kids.
Nah, that shit used
Nobody
to come
cared
on
about
Saturday
us.
night. What was that? It used to come on
Yeah.
it used to come on Nick at Night for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You talking about that,
Yeah,
Batman?
that one right there, him. You already know.
With the
Thank
Green
you.
Hornet.
Yes.
That was the sister show. Green Hornet.
No. The main ones in that one was Riddler, Penguin, and Joker. Well,
No,
no,
it was
Bane,
another
no, none of
superhero
that.
show.
It was
No, it was
Riddler,
another
Joker, and
superhero
Penguin
show.
for
They
the
did
most part, bro.
crossovers.
Oh, and Catwoman, and Batgirl.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah,
remember
but
that?
those,
Remember
that
that damn
show.
episode? You remember that damn episode with the shark repellent where he didn't, when he was on the thing, he didn't spray the bitch. He just did this.
Nah, I didn't see that one. I probably just gotta look it up. You probably got put it in the back chat. I'll check it out.
He didn't spray it. He just.
Man,
Nah, when you go back and look, that shit
though.
was pretty funny.
All them cat
But
women
that's how
were
Batman was. So Batman has been good. Like them Batman cartoon animated series, bro. Like I think like all three of them, bro, from like the 90s to early 2000s was absolutely phenomenal. They were all great, bro. They were great.
Hey, we gotta get back to the
Hey, let's-
X-Men.
Yeah, let's get
Oh,
back
my
to
bad.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Don't start this DC bullshit.
I know DC was disrespectful going to come out with on HBO Max the Crisis. I'm like, nobody want to see this stuff.
Part 2 is
Nobody
horrible.
wants, you know what DC
Part
stands
2
for?
is horrible.
Don't care. DC stand for don't care.
Damn. Well, look, hey, again, I love the direction they're going with as far as anime series. Like I said early in the show, it's really setting the bar high, especially for the actual action.
Right.
Movie. Now, like Jedi Mike said, I didn't know they hired a writer for them already, so I think it's a good thing. They get it all set up. Now they're talking about as Rock as the Apocalypse. Now I don't know. Is it rumor? Is it really going to happen? I think that would be I would like to see that. I would like to see him as Apocalypse and see how they gonna fit him in. I know they've been trying to get him to the Marvel universe. We'll see.
Yeah, that report is inaccurate. Like where it's just people just saying that because they're not even close to getting they just got a writer. They're not even close to getting in terms of a director or actor to play a particular character yet. They're way far from the process of making that right now. But in terms of like possible fan casting, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, at least The Rock needs a win after Black Adam, but that's a whole nother thing. Listen, this dude literally played himself. He was playing Halloween in that movie. Listen, I remember Black Adam, who's sinister. There's one thing you being the character and one you being a fan of the character. He just put the costume and played himself. That's all he did in that damn movie. Anyway,
Mm,
so
wow,
anyway,
wow. I see
I
what
said
he's
what I
saying.
said.
I see
So,
what he's
yeah.
so
saying.
Russ, let me ask you this: what did you think of the last 6 episodes of the series? What was your thought on it?
I thought it was well put together. I definitely enjoyed the last episode. Because towards the end of it, they end up going back to Egypt, bumping into Apocalypse. So I already know season 2 is going to be incredible.
And don't forget the future, right? Mother Ascani, that's also Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Also, you see Cable as another version of their son as Marvel Boy, whatever. But that's another storyline. Also, Rachel Summers story. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
that's Marvel Boy, or that's
yeah.
going to be Strife?
No. I believe it's No. So here's the thing. So there's a young Cable who's basically the epiphany of what Sinister was trying to create was just like the perfect mutant being, which is their child. That's what that little boy at the end in the future where Scott and Jean is at. But the older girl or older lady, whatever, that was Rachel Summers. That was their daughter. So yeah, that's a whole nother storyline that they're going with that and stuff like that, which they tease like in like flashbacks and stuff like that. But and did you catch the when Magneto was on the when he was in when Professor X and them in their mind and you see on the boat, you see Polaris and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in there? Yeah. Yeah, I think they're gonna play a factor into them somehow. And they're off planet, which I think the humans are involved. So, but yes.
Oh Lord, the Agents of Shields. Here we go again. 5 seasons of the most
Oh,
disappointing television.
I say about
Although
season
I did
7,
watch it faithfully.
it went left, man. Like it was just too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope not. I hope you're wrong, Stan. I promise you, I still hope you're wrong.
No, have you seen the Agent of Shield, man? Like I was faithful to Smallville, although Clark was always crying every damn season. I stayed faithful. Agent of Shield was, it was like, man, like where are you guys going with this? It's just like
it was an era.
they couldn't connect to the Marvel universe no more, so they just had to like go off. And I'm just like, yo,
Yeah, they definitely went
it's
off the
almost like
rail, man.
Heroes. Like, yeah, it was like you're gonna see an MCU movie person in the Agent of Shield this week, and then it was like, oh,
Doesn't even connect. Yeah, it was an era for ABC television and stuff. So yeah. But
Yeah,
Hank, I will
definitely.
say I will ask everybody here from the original show, like who was there for the original shows, that in terms of the animation, I mentioned this comment like in the last time I was here, how I feel like the animation improved because there are certain fight scenes that they really couldn't have done with the prior animation, especially when you involve with the Sentinels. The animator, he was talking about how like they worked on in terms of like making sure they got the scale of the Sentinels right, because in that previous one, you have Jubilee in a mall and you have a freaking Sentinel inside, but then all of a sudden, you just have a different Sentinel. He's like giant size and everything. And I feel like with animation also added to the emotional elements too, like seeing Wolverine get his adamantium pulled out, how they animated that, and seeing that on streaming, which again you couldn't see that on Fox Kids, but like I felt like they did a good job improving that, and I feel for some people currently with animation today, people are saying that because of this, they want to bring back the Spider-Man animated series back because of how great the show is. But I'm asking you guys, do you agree with that? I mean, I have no stake in it, but I'm just asking.
Yeah, I would love to see a revamp of Spider-Man, because the old school one was real good. You had the Kingpin running shit. You had the Hobgoblin. You know what I mean? You had the Green Goblin. Like, yo, like they was raising mayhem within New York City within those those episodes, man, and I definitely enjoyed it. So if they were to revamp it, man, I think it'd be incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I
I liked it. Oh,
definitely
go
love
ahead,
to see
Hank.
it. I would definitely love to see them to revamp the Spider-Man. And like you said, Jada Mike, I think this was a test trial to really set it up and see how the people respond to it. And I believe they got a great response. The response probably, I bet you they got the response they didn't expect, because I think the response is way greater than what they more than likely expect. So I could see them making a push on doing and re-releasing the Spider-Man series. Go ahead, Sam, bro.
Yeah, I
I'm
will say
sorry.
this. For X-Men, it worked because I don't know if people remember X-Men and Spider-Man were from two different artist house. So the X-Men, it worked. It reminds me of Mortal Kombat 80s on HBO Max. So it worked for that. Spider-Man was ahead of his time because it was the first time of mixing both 2D art and computer. So that's what makes Spider-Man so unique, because it was a different um, artist house they had to go through with Spider-Man. So I don't know how they're gonna make this one any better or different, but I look forward to it. Cause we still got to find out, how did he find Mary Jane?
Correct. Right. That's where everybody was like losing their mind, because you saw Mary Jane with Peter Parker at the end there. So it was like, oh wait, he found him. So again, I just remember this
And
from
don't forget Brock.
that no, yeah,
Brock was
that
there.
was
Don't forget him.
Flash. No, that was Flash. I heard
That
that
was
was
Flash.
Flash.
So that's Venom,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
He
that
was
that
Venom
still
later.
yeah. So that still can be something they can add on to and everything. But because even though Marvel, they're doing another Disney Plus Spider-Man animated series called Spider-Man's Freshman Year, which is not, the pictures of those have been released, but it's not looking nearly as good as what you see here. But yeah, I think a lot of people are gonna be, when that show come out, like, nah, we don't want this one. We want the other one.
No
But
more
yeah.
Spider-Man. We got enough Spider-Man. Spider-Man like Batman. Like, can y'all give us something else? We got so many Spider-Man on Disney Plus as it is. Spider-Man is like Batman. It's like, let's do another Batman. Like, God, isn't there somebody else you can do? Like, can we
Well,
have somebody else?
Well, they are expanding on doing a live action Amazon Prime series. If you remember from the Spider-Verse animated series, so there were different Spider-Man, right? So Nicolas Cage, he voiced a character called Spider-Man Noir, right? Which is like the black and white type of like alternate world Spider-Man and everything. And they're actually greenlight the show of doing a live action Spider-Man Noir
Yeah,
series, and Nick Cage is gonna be attached to this project and everything, which has been confirmed for Amazon or Prime Video. So yeah, they're making a series out of that.
it's funny you mentioned the white Spider-Man suit, right? They actually incorporated the white Spider-Man in the Fantastic Four animated series, which I thought was pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So I have a question for everybody in the panel then. So if they're complaining about the ratings wasn't high, this is not regular TV. It's called streaming,
Mhm.
and people got to pay for it. So it's not free. So at the same time, then what are they going to do if they have to add in more viewership? Because nobody really know how they're able to say, like, oh, this didn't view and this didn't do good, when it's not like, yo, everybody's talking about it, everybody's been watching it. So who do the ratings, number one? And number two, are you going to be smart like HBO Max and then move it to Tubi? Because you got to
No,
put something out for free so people to care about it. So what's the equivalency for Disney to go ahead and to put what's on Disney Plus for like the majority of people to watch?
well, I can explain that. They're for them putting that content on Tubi, that absolutely would never happen. Because the House of Mouse is a bitch. They'll never do that. The what so what they So the way,
Yo, that's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
seriously, and I'm going to D23 for as press to coverage and everything. But yeah, I'm literally going to the House of Mouse in August. So anyway, they do interviews and shit. But anyway, with we're talking about in terms of streaming numbers now. Because of the audience perception and also critic perception, they already greenlit multiple seasons of this show because they were very confident what they had there. So they made a new like season order of the show. Now, usually with ratings for this particular season, I feel like there wasn't really marketed very well until after the show came out. Right, that's when you start getting Airbnb doing sponsorships and everything, making a whole freaking X-Men mansion for you to have an Airbnb experience with and stuff. So like that's marketing. They didn't do that at the beginning of the show, right? So now a lot of people are getting to attach to the show now after all the episodes been released. Now I do believe word of mouth is going to be very important, but when we get into season 2, which definitely it will not probably come till 2025. That there will be a higher viewership because people are going to be more responsive and more anticipating for the show now that's of the success of season 1. Now, also, this is another thing too. Because before the episode came out, episode 1, there was a lot of controversy, which we really didn't talk about, it with the showrunner, Bo DeMea, who was fired from Disney, and he actually wrote the first this season and season 2. He's not really involved in season 3, which is currently being developed right now. So and he's been very vocal on Twitter and everything, and a lot of fans want him back because how great this show is. Because they don't want the quality of the show to diminish or anything like that. Now we have seen Disney particularly fire people and hire them back. And with James Gunn, who's now running DC, he got fired because of his post stuff on Twitter. Then he got hired by DC to do Suicide Squad. Then he got rehired by Disney to go back and direct Guardians Galaxy 3. So I don't think that after the response of the fans and audience and everything, I think it'd probably be a little bit more time until we probably get Bo DeMeo to be rehired. If not, I'm not saying it's the end of the world because there was multiple people in this creative process. But going back to your question with the viewership, I do believe is going to increase in season 2, but they have to heavily invest now in marketing. Now they know that the audience and the critics are both loving the show. So now they can put their money and more invested in terms of marketing in the right way before season 2 is released. Right. So that's why they got a big window until season 2 to promote the show. But yeah, in terms of Tubi, that will never happen. They won't allow it.
No, I'm not talking about just Tubi. I'm just talking about like a platform where it's better tracked. That's what I'm just saying, because if you're looking at what HBO is doing and Warner Brothers,
yes,
I'm wondering, does Disney
correct.
start thinking about that? Because because let's be honest here, nobody hasn't really, all the networks, they have done terrible job of marketing their shows. I could be watching
Netflix specifically.
show.
Netflix specifically
Oh yeah,
do a
you
horrible
don't know
job.
what's coming on.
Yes.
We don't know, right? But even on regular network, right? I could watch CBS and it'll tell me a whole lineup on Fox. Make it make sense. I'm on CBS. What's on CBS? I don't know what's on CBS, but I know what's on Fox. They have done themselves like it's a disservice. Like, who are these executives who like cutting costs and not really doing their job? Like up here, cutting costs and saving money does not make you an executive. Dude, you're not even, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you just do something that's brand new and innovation. Not even innovative. And it's like, yo, you just cut corners and you're not really, people don't know what Doctor Who's coming on. People don't know about the Star Wars. I'm like, my God, if we keep on going the past for Star Wars and not the future, I'm like, Lord Jesus, can we move forward? But
yeah, no, I
like we're not.
Yeah, I agree with you with that.
That we're not seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think with the terms of studio heads right now, because right now, if you guys been noticing in the industry, there's been a lot of acquisitions right now. Paramount currently is going through right now, where they're about to probably be bought, and which because of that, because now the streaming wars have been increasing, there've been a lot of mergers. Hence, you had the whole thing with Fox and Disney a couple of years ago. Then you had Comcast the same thing. Warner Brother, I think AT&T, Warner with the WB, same thing. Discovery,
right?
excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, correct. And same thing,
And
same
also, Cartoon
situation going on.
Network is now. Who owns Cartoon Network now?
No, I think it's still under the umbrella of WB. It's just still, I think it's still Discovery. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like where in terms of when they're gonna be releasing these types of shows and stuff like that. But now what people are now seeing, because after the writer's strike and everything, that when you're increasing these costs for these streaming platforms, is now getting to a point probably in the next maybe 2 years or maybe like 5. Like best case scenario, worst case scenarios too, that we're basically paying the same amount for cable we have been, with the amount of streaming platforms that we're now having. And now there's a discussion where they're trying to combine all of this streaming platforms into one under umbrella. Now, how they're going to do that, I don't know, but I think what they're going to be doing in terms of in the future is making sure that when they're doing the release of these shows, knowing what projects to green light and put on streaming, and knowing which projects, especially when it comes to movies, where they're going to put theatrical. Because again, the theatrical experience, that's when you make your money on. With serialized television, you get it by the quantity you have of content, right? Whether it's good or bad, people, when you rewatch a serialized television show on cable, oh yeah, it has more longevity. On streaming, it's reduced. Used to get like 23 episode seasons. Now you get maybe 6 and 10 episodes a season. That's cutting costs and profit for them.
Okay, now here's my next question. I'm sorry, guys, I got a lot of questions, so I apologize ahead of time. So you're telling me I gotta wait for X-Men '97 in the year 2025, but there's no replacement. Have anybody thought of, like, yo, when you leave us in a lurch like that, you gotta put a placement in so we can be, you know, pulled along. Just like WB. WB was good at that, right? If it was Riverdale was out, there was another show similar to Riverdale that came on, and there was another show after that, and there was
Well,
another one after that. Next, you know, it's October. Then there's like his new Riverdale. Have anybody thought about that?
Well, that's
Because
what's happening. Well, the next release window for Disney. So right now you have X-Men. Now in a couple of weeks, whatever, then you can have Star Wars with the Star Wars Acolyte series that they're doing. That's yes. So that's what they're doing with that, right? And then in the later half of, I believe, in the fall, you have the Agatha, WandaVision, the witch from WandaVision. She's getting her own show that nobody asked for. That's coming out in September and everything. And then I think Marvel's What If season 3 is coming out, and I think same time as Christmas as it did this past year. It's going to come in Christmas this year or early 2025, but I think it's coming at the end of this year. Marvel What If season 3. So yeah. That's going to end off the year. So they're having that release window of content. So they're pushing from this Star Wars, and then they got the live action show Agatha, and then yes. I'm not saying it's a good
man,
slate.
Star Wars
I'm not
not a,
saying it's a good.
yeah,
I'm not
Star
saying it's a
Wars
good
is
slate, but
not.
yes.
Oh Lord, not another Star Wars.
You got hey, you got to keep the masses happy, man. You got to, and Star Wars is a part of it. It's a part of it. So,
I said the House of Mouse.
excuse me. With that being said, man, our next big Marvel event that we're gonna have is, of course, Deadpool. That's what's coming next. It's projected, to be good. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's expecting it to really live up and really help and save Marvel. Which, man, look here, I think this series probably helped them out a whole lot. I think it gave them a softer landing. It may not live up to the extra what them Sentinels call them Omega Mutant style of movie. We'll see. Hopefully it does. I'm hoping it does. It seemed like in the clips that I've seen that it's going to be real good. But with this this Marvel anime series, like I said, it gave them a soft spot where it don't have to be, through the roof, because we Marvel only gonna get us one good, like you said, Jeremiah. Marvel's gonna have the highs and his lows, and so are they gonna hit 2 home runs in a row with this Deadpool movie? I don't know. Can they do it? We'll see.
Right.
But everybody loved Deadpool. Deadpool's like the
Yeah, for
darling
sure.
of movies. Is Ryan, what his name is?
Ryan
What's
Reynolds.
his name?
Ryan Reynolds, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, right? So like that's the darling of movies in summertime, and I think they got the new popcorn bucket. That's been
Yes.
the scandal.
Yes, I seen. Yeah, they revealed the popcorn bucket at a trade show at CinemaCon in Vegas, but it hasn't been released to the public and everything. But yeah, it's I to answer your point, Hank, is that I think that this show, if anything, makes the anticipation for Deadpool Wolverine even higher, because again, it goes back into X-Men content. Is that again the brand of X-Men is now is like, this is another way for Marvel to go on to and hopefully move the direction moving forward. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. I said this and I said to, like, when people say, "Well, Deadpool Wolverine saved Marvel from," when I was a Deadpool Wolverine won't save Marvel even after the if it makes $1 billion, even though I believe it will. I don't believe that whether this film are good or not, it's not going to save it, because I think the true test is coming in 2025, because they have at least currently right now scheduled, they have 4 movies coming out next year. This year they only have 1, Marvel proper, right? Next year they're gonna have 4, because they got Fantastic Four, which is a big one for people. Then they got the Blade movie. They got Black Captain America, right? And then they got the team up movie Thunderbolts with a bunch of so Winter Soldier team up with Red Guardian from Black Widow, the other Black Widow and everything. So there's another team up movie, Thunderbolts, is coming out. But yeah, those are the 4 movies. Those are 4 movies back to back in one single year as of right now. That is your true test for Marvel. Is that when theatrically?
Could it be? Are we not?
Go ahead.
Okay, here's something about trends, right? Are we looking at trends, right? And marketing and profitability, right? Are we not like? Are we also skipping the part that people are like, one, leaving streaming, 2, there's a trend of people wanting DVDs back. Are they looking into that? Because that's also how they make their money. Because you got to sell some kind of tangible merchandise, right? And
Yeah.
also, when we look at comic books, right? Let's be honest here with the comic books. 32 pages costing $5. If I wait 3 months and it goes into being, you know what I'm saying, the
Correct.
graphic
Right.
novels, and I go thriftbooks.com and get it for $4. Wink, wink. Uh, I mean, what are they going to do? Because everything has changed. Nobody has the patience to wait for a 32-page novel, and people actually want physical product now. So, are they looking at that? Because we're we call first world country. We think that everybody in the world is streaming, which is not true. Like DVDs is still profitable. I'm just
Well,
asking the question.
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm saying their merchandise is working. But yeah, so like, yeah, they're I can see them increasing that, but even like in toys, like I understand like with physical media as it, slowly declining, but people want it more because of now the rarity of it is now getting like Best Buy getting rid of all their DVD section and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they're still going to capitalize on that. I think it just comes from a different play of distribution, like probably like through Amazon or something like that, not probably like any retail store, probably Walmart, whatever, but it's gonna be
No,
through a
it's
different.
Amazon definitely. No, you're
Yes.
right on. You spot when Best Buy said they stopped. You know who increased it? Amazon and also Walmart. They would start
Yes,
selling more
Walmart.
DVDs, and I was like, "Where are these DVDs coming from?" And DVD players at like $20.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Whoa, wait, when did this happen?" But I'm just saying, like, are they gonna start looking at that when you say like Are we having the movies and people traveling because like DVDs are still valuable, especially when you have a power outage or whatever, right? Or
Yeah, the main priority is people going back to the theaters. Because listen, you came out after the Marvels, which gross are being I believe like 110, maybe 120 $1 million worldwide theatrically. That's bad, right? So their main priority, I guarantee, is get people back into the theater. Now, when it comes with DVDs and all that stuff, that's one thing. But to get people back to, hey, listen, I know we got Disney Plus. Because here's the thing too. Before, during the pandemic, they used to reveal the movie on the same day they put it on streaming, which that killed their profits. And Warner Brothers did that, right? And it backfired. And Disney did that with Black Widow, and then Scarlett Johansson sued their bitch asses, right? And rightfully so, right? But I'm telling you, now people have the option where, like, you know what? Do I need to go see this movie opening day? Because I don't even know if it's going to be good at this point when it comes with Disney Marvel. At this point, the general movie audience is like, hey, I don't even know if it's even good for me to go see an opening day. But you know what? I can wait 3 months till it get on Disney Plus. Yeah, I can wait that. That's bad.
No, you have to wait 3 months. Remember, it's 1 month. Just wait 1 month.
No, depending on the theatrical window. But I'm telling you, with Deadpool and Wolverine, they're gonna wait as long as they can. So they put the bitch on
that one. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
right. That's
Hey,
money.
Hey, Jedi Mike, what's up, Hank?
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Oh, what Hank? What you about to say, man? I was about to say what's up, but I see you about to say something.
No, I'm just saying what's up.
I'm talking about Hank.
Oh,
Yeah, you on mute, man.
you muted. You muted.
Hank, you on mute.
No, I was gonna say what's happening, Matthew. Calm down, big brother. Why you always get defensive? Why you always get defensive when you come over here?
Because I know how you is, man. That's why I'm making sure that I'm ready just in case, man. I'm just making sure. But no,
so you got the gun loaded. Okay.
Let me ask you something, though, man. Because look, I used to read the comic books a lot. So, you know, the Beast and Psylocke series. Mm-hmm. Now, like, I'm looking at it like, I don't know if y'all was touching on this a little earlier, but I think if they build that anime up to where it's kind of like how DC anime is, because obviously DC movies suck, but the anime is pretty cool. If Marvel can get their DC type movies, anime movies up, I think it can create more movies for, like, it could be kind of like almost like Star Wars. It don't have to be a correlation. It could just be a movie about that. You see what I'm saying? It don't have to be a storyline. It's almost like how Psylocke and Beast, it was his own little thing, and it didn't have to connect the dots until maybe 15 episodes later. You see what I'm saying? If they can start maybe doing that, I think you could build a younger audience that may not be into it like we is. I think that could build something. But you gotta create them side stories, not that typical all 5 versus 5. Like 2 people versus whatever they enemies are. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think it can pop like that, because I would watch, like, Beast was my favorite character when I was little. He was smart and he was strong. He was peaceful, but he could fight if he had to. You know, I like the Beast, so that's why I said I just remember that.
So he was the opposite of you as a real person. Okay, he was smart, he was strong. Okay, I see why he's your favorite. I understand.
Oh man, see, this is why I come here swinging, man. This is what I'm talking about.
I understand. That makes sense. That does make sense. My man Matthew. Shout out to Matthew and his favorite character, Beast. Right on. So Matthew, let me ask you this then, brother.
What's up?
The last 6 episodes. What did you think about the last 6?
Okay,
the last 5. I'm sorry, the last 5.
Okay, only one that I just got clarity on that I was a little iffy about was that Rogue and Magneto one. But I realized the one that I really liked, though, because it was Gambit. Gambit died, which I didn't like. But I didn't understand at first. I thought Rogue and Magneto was father and daughter, but I forgot it's Nightcrawler and Rogue, I think.
Nah, man, Magneto used to tap them buns, man.
Bingo. Yes.
Because it was Quicksilver and
Scarlet Witch.
Okay, so who's Nightcrawler's mom?
Okay, so all right.
It's Mystique.
Yes, but and also so they changed it recently in the comics, which again goes to the agenda.
Oh yeah,
is that-
Nightcrawler got a
The
daughter, man,
retcon.
because
no, no, no,
he
no, no,
smashed
no.
Scarlet Witch.
Well, not that. It's also Mystique is technically the biological father of Nightcrawler, not mother, because his actual mother is another woman that Mystique had a relationship with at the same time of
Oh man.
Nightcrawler birth. So this is the thing, because back in the day it was simple. It was Azazel, it was Mystique. The nigga can teleport. She's blue. Okay, then all right, that's how you got Nightcrawler. It's plain and simple. But no, they changed it to make it work because Mystique, like Morph,
Yeah,
she can
she can
change
do
her.
both. Yeah.
She can,
Okay.
whatever.
See,
Yeah.
but I thought Mystique couldn't use their powers once she turned into. I thought she just can make
No, not about powers, about physical body.
just the
And
way it looked. Okay, I got you.
yes, so yeah,
Okay.
Brandon.
Yeah, because Morph could use powers, but it's limited.
Yeah, you could do it like first 10 minutes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like
but
the change Mystique, then I'm like, yo, then you got like Kirk he smelled like brimstone, and you miss out the whole storyline that his father gave birth to all these mutant kids so he can teleport himself back to hell. Whatever.
Okay,
yeah.
the last thing the only episode out of all these episodes I didn't care for, honestly, was I'm not a big Jean Grey fan. I like Phoenix, but I don't like Jean Grey. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
They little marriage saga, I can't stand them. But as far as what's the name? I didn't really care for the what's his dang,
Sinister.
yeah, that was kind of like And then okay, let me one more critique. The only another episode I didn't really care for was the storm and that dude that can build anything.
Yeah, Forge.
I
The
didn't,
love death. The love
Forge.
death. Yeah.
yeah, it's like some of that stuff I get you got to put in and maybe soften it, give an actor a chance, talking to actor a chance. I get some of that, but unless it's building, because don't Wolverine eventually mess with Storm?
That's an alternate.
Yeah, that's an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Wolverine's hand got cut off because Cyclops shot his hand off. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
Age of Apocalypse.
if y'all follow
Cyclops
comics,
something.
y'all know what I'm talking about. I know Jedi already knows. He's like the encyclopedia of Marvel.
Marvel.
Yo, I'll say this: like,
Shout out to
what I
Milestone.
wish they did
Shout out
with
to
this
Milestone.
one, like they did with She-Hulk, because She-Hulk, each episode was a free ebook of the comic. I wish they did the same thing with the X-Men, so people knew what the storyline was, like what was going on. Because they did that for She-Hulk. They didn't do that for X-Men. That would have been smart if they did do that.
See, if they play this right, X-Men is like, I'm telling you, it's like Star Wars. It's so many different avenues they can go.
Yes.
To where they can make it forever, man. And they can obviously start making their own. Because
And rotate the roster. Like you can
Because Colossus got a
Matthew, we was talking about that a little earlier, but I guess you was late to the stream. That's okay. We forgive you, brother. We forgive you for that.
Brother, see this.
We talked. No, we did. I'm just recanting. Me and Jen, I talked about it, and we talked about the genres they can go down because of the way the storyline went. So you are correct, and I think they will. But my man Jedi says season 2, he's thinking they're gonna touch on the Apocalypse.
They definitely, yeah.
Oh, Apocalypse and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's a whole nother different saga too. Because he got a lot of that's when Archangel gets more involved. Like that was his. I think that was his flunky to some degree. It's a lot, man. Because I think they can even introduce Silver Surfer in some of this.
Well, I mean, Silver Surfer did appear in animated in I think it was either Spider-Man or Fantastic Four.
No, Fantastic Four.
Yes.
Because when Galactus came through, started wrecking shop. It was Silver Surfer that found Earth form, and he bumped into Fantastic Four.
But remember, Guardian of the Galaxy ran into the X-Men, so that's what I'm saying. That kind of correlates to all that space world. Like I remember it was Silver Surfer versus, this is a comic book I was reading. It was Silver Surfer versus, I don't know, it was somebody, man, but I just know he got involved. It wasn't for a long time.
You know what would be dope? if
Yeah.
Marvel made Gladiator a focal point in that space realm with the Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that'd be dope. You know what I mean? Them bumping into the Shi'ar Empire joint, them niggas start banging on each other. I think
Yeah,
that'd be incredible.
Gladiator hard to beat, man. I think did he throw Juggernaut in the water?
Yeah. He whooped Juggernaut's ass like it was nothing, man.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Did he ever
Yeah,
fight Hulk? Did he ever fight Hulk in the comics?
they try to make Hulk look like a punk. I don't like how they do Hulk.
But in the movies, yes. In the movies, yes. Yeah, he's a bitch now. But and they're probably and they're gonna give and they're gonna give him a replacement in the next Captain America movie. They're gonna do Red Hulk
Yeah, I
in the
heard.
next Captain America movie.
That's gonna be trash, to be honest with you.
You don't
They
think Red
couldn't
Hulk
do
gonna be
that.
good?
Yeah, I don't think it would be
Red
good.
Hulk is gonna be good. This is the thing. The problem is you're in the wrong movie, nigga. That's it. You're in the wrong movie. And I don't want I'm sorry. Listen, this is the thing. I said it earlier. Black Captain America, aside from Isaiah Bradley, who's actually historically in the comics, that's actually a Black Captain America, right? With the serum and shit, you know.
Well, hold on. Now, the Black Captain America, are you talking about the one that looks deformed? Because, within the comics,
There's different.
they got him look like like disfigured. It's like his face is disfigured, but the nigga's like super strong. Like they say he's actually stronger. Like the super serum that they used on them is actually 10 times better than the super serum that they used on Captain America.
Right, exactly.
On
Right.
the white boy, yeah.
Yeah, no, because Isaiah Bradley, they addressed that on the Falcon Winter Soldier show, which that was one of the things I liked about the show. They addressed that storyline. But as Sam Wilson is Captain America, even though I like the character, again, he's not our hero. Blade's our hero. Like Bishop is one of our heroes, right? Storm, Black Panther,
Luke Cage.
Luke
Yeah,
Cage,
Luke
Blue
Cage.
Marvel, those
agree.
characters. So
Yo,
what
hold
the
on.
problem
Yo, they need to make something with Blue Marvel, man. Like I think they sleeping on that character, man.
They are
You
sleeping.
know,
They are sleeping on the character.
like
But
this
yeah.
dude can manipulate matter, man. You know what I mean? Like what mutant could do that?
So
And
is
he
like,
whooped Sentry's ass. Like
is
he
he like-
gave him the beats.
is he like Adam Man or no?
No, he's like almost Doctor like since I'll say Watchmen just in terms of power capacity, right? Just the way when Dr. Manhattan shows up in Watchmen and shit about to go down, that's like what Blue Marvel should be, right? Except this is an intellectual man, one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, he's a physicist. Yeah.
Let me show you this black representation. See, that's Blue Marvel, right? And they haven't even touched this, which they could connect. He also has a relationship with Monica Rambeau, who is Photon, but also the Black Captain Marvel and the first Black woman to join the Avengers, which they did in the Marvels. Even though she was the only character I liked aside from that, but yeah, that's Blue Marvel. Yeah, on OP. If they're smart, they will do it, but they won't.
What's going on, Marcus? How y'all doing? How you doing tonight, brother? You good?
Yeah, how's everybody doing? Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this. This has been one of the shows not just as a comic creator. I want people to take a step back, not just as a comic aficionado or a person that just enjoys. Overall, just if you're a person that doesn't even know comics, just the fact that you're gonna watch the way that this story went and everything that's happened, this is something that has damn for sure been needing to do. And they took other series for granted when we were airing Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes was one of them. The 90s Spider-Man, as great as it was, they left off on points that, hey, we can come back and pick it up. And when I'm watching this stuff, how it ended, I'm like, yeah, the Apocalypse is coming back with the Horsemen of Death. Potentially, maybe Wolverine might be a Horseman himself, hopefully maybe getting back that adamantium. Maybe, right? Maybe. I may be wrong, but that's a possibility. Then also, we could see maybe Rogue or somebody else become a Horseman, maybe. We can see some people like that. And remember, when Gambit comes back as a Horseman, his memory is wiped. His memories of ever knowing who Rogue or the X-Men were are gone. And when I'm watching Silver Samurai, and I kind of geeked out a little bit more when I saw Omega Red pop up again, and the guy next to him was one of Iron Man's rivals, Crimson Dynamo. And then you have Darkstar right there on the other side. and you got Silver Samurai. So we know the history there with Wolverine, and Yukio and all that, and Yumiko and all that kind of stuff. And then you have Black Panther show up. You have Cloak and Dagger with Daredevil. We have all these character storyline, and then I'm thinking maybe it's a mixture of the Avengers and X-Men will team up, but then also maybe they come to odds with each other, like in the comics. A
Now,
lot of
in the comics, the X-Men had beef with the Avengers, because it has something to do with it's called the blood of Apocalypse. What Apocalypse will do, he will have people like drink his blood and they'll become like super mutants and stuff like that. And he released a virus that'll kill certain type of mutants, and that will cause the Avengers and the X-Men
virus too.
bang on each other. Know what I mean?
Don't forget the techno-organic, but also the thing that I'm glad you brought up blood, right? So the lady that's cloaked over is actually supposed to be another alternate timeline of a daughter of Jean Grey and Cyclops, which is the Rachel Summers, the lady that you see with the hooded cloak at the end, and then that Nathan that shows up could be Nathan Grey, or maybe Cable, which is Nathan Grey is X-Man himself, or it could be the actual Cable in another timeline, young. But then you see also, you see what Bastion has become, and then you see meeting a young Apocalypse back in the old times. Then you see the fact that Apocalypse did that scene in Present in Genosha, picking up the card that was the last card that Gambit was holding when he was standing outside hearing Rogue and Magneto, do their thing, was the Queen of Hearts. So that was a symbolism in itself. And I'm glad to see Nightcrawler. I was like, yo, where's Mystique at? Where is Iceman at? Where are Colossus and Archangel at? As much as like morphs change into them,
Yeah.
But that's when you're looking at the new team for the next season, right? Because you're gonna see X-Men in the past, X-Men in the future. You need X-Men in the present, and you see Roberto and Jubilee AWOL, and that could lead into either Generation X, or we're looking at the Young Mutants because they weren't ready to fight. So it's like, yo,
or
it's
X
gonna be war. We need to get you guys ready.
Yeah, and shout out to the Hispanic Human Torch, man. Shout out to the Hispanic Human Torch, Sunspot, man, because that's how I basically saw him. Even though I like Human Torch more, he'll always be Johnny Storm will be the pyro for me, along with maybe one other pyromaniac out there. But Sunspot's cool, man. Like I remember seeing him in the New Mutants. If that was him or not, I remember correctly. Jedi Mike, New Mutants. And then you have Magique. You can't forget about Magique. Hopefully, she makes an appearance along the line. I know that Polaris made an appearance, but she was like an old lady at that moment. Maybe some Deadpool. Hopefully, I know Alpha Flight was in the team, and then you saw Psylocke. Psylocke was there too.
And Puck. And Puck.
Yeah, don't forget Puck. Yeah, Puck, man. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm fortunate and I'm glad that I'm alive around this time where I got to see the original series as a young boy and looking forward to Saturday cartoons in the morning to now having it in a streaming service and luxury of it and being able to see it back and forth and going back to the original series. And the fact that they showed Spider-Man and the fact that maybe Jedi Mike and a few of us can confirm this, but I was looking at myself some homework and I was like, the guys from that wrote down the original Spider-Man animated series were like, hey, Marvel, hit us up. Like, we're here. We're down. Let's do it. Kevin Feige, like, hey, we're down. We have stuff ready. The fact that Madam Web took Spider-Man and go, hey, you might end on a happy ending. It doesn't have to be so bitter. We'll get you one for yourself, Peter Parker. So clearly it showed that they found each other, I think, from that ending scene, that 9th episode or the 10th episode. And yeah, so I think it's all great. I think it's awesome. I hope we might see a little maybe some Maverick too and Lady Deathstrike down the line with the mutants and stuff like that. Blob, maybe Avalanche, and the list goes on of what the potential could be and I'm glad that it is. So I'm just glad that it is, man.
Mm-hmm. And can we just appreciate the time that we're in where at least almost majority of us as fans of Marvel right now are in a good spot. We just enjoyed this piece of content. That's where it's like, because I'm telling you, I wasn't hyped for this show. I was just like, okay, well, I have to cover it because I'm Power Press and mess, but I was like, I wasn't, and I watched the first 2 episodes, like, okay, that was pretty good. And then I'm like, we're getting up the anticipation of waiting week after week, and it's a point where I'm literally with some of my colleagues, and like, y'all, we got up at 3 a.m. for the finale, StreamYard this joint, and just got on like, yo, we're gonna watch the finale. I haven't done that like in years, like since they started been doing Disney Plus, like Marvel. And I'm just saying, just currently where we are, I'm just happy that I at least get able to talk this with y'all, but be in a good spirit. Just like, with this content, especially with these characters that I love, but also a spark of hope of even take and like a TV show out of it, just how to do, just massive storylines and these characters right. And also do like, diverse characters right. Like, again, I'm to the people that who get claimed to be, on the right, left, whatever like that, and representation of different groups. This show to me was a perfect example of balance. And whether, obviously you got people can be nitpicking every time, like, oh yeah, there was woke because more he turned to Jean Grey and told Wolverine he loved her. Like, yeah, he probably does. Like, he probably does love Wolverine, and that makes sense. But I know they're not gonna make this dude in a relationship with Wolverine. I know for a fact they're not gonna do that shit. But I'm watching that scene. I'm like, okay, yeah, Morpheus, non-binary. Like, okay, and it wasn't even a big deal in 10 episodes. Him being non-binary was not a big freaking deal, and I'm just saying because we don't have to put like a whole hey, look. I don't have to be like, hey, Storm, Bishop, hey, they black girl magic. No. They're great fucking characters on their own. Let's let it be that.
Let me ask y'all a question. Like, this is the last question I'm gonna do, and I gotta bounce. But real quick, do y'all think because Wildcats is Marvel, right?
Wildcat.
Nah,
Thundercats?
they're not on the.
Wait, Thundercats?
No,
No,
I know what you're talking about. The Wildcats.
Independent comic
I don't
book.
know who they are.
Okay, never mind then. Because I was gonna say, you think they would restart that series? But never mind.
If they did,
Yeah, I
it'll be
think
dope.
Wildcats is on
I
the
think it'll be
DC
dope.
imprint.
I'm not gonna lie, Hank. If he was gonna say Thundercats, I was gonna cash up and drop him. All right, no offense.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
Matthew,
God.
I
Thunder.
believe it's on the
Thundercats.
DC. It's
Oh!
on the DC.
No offense, Matt. I like you, bro, but no, hell no.
No, guys. Wildcats came from when Marvel
Shout
was
out to
buying
Matthew and Lionel.
Lee, and Stanley did his own comic line, and Wildcats was one of those comic books. It's from the '90s. It was really good.
Well, they're working on a movie.
you
Though.
could-
I bet you he's gonna ask if Spawn is Marvel too, huh?
Actually, Spawn was also independent.
Yeah, isn't Spawn from was it Dark Horse or
Yes.
Dark Horse Comics?
Yeah, there was quite a few independent comic books in the '90s that got folded into like bigger entities. But I'm gonna say this again, right? If you want to see Wildcats, and also there was another show that was similar to Wildcats, you're gonna have to go on Tubi because Tubi have all these old shows.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Because
Stan got some stock in Tubi. That's why he keep pushing that shit so hard.
Yeah, you
I
keep
got
on
to.
Tubi kind of
Marcus.
hard,
I got
man.
to get some stocks in
So no,
Tubi.
it's Image Comics. It's Image Comics. Yeah.
Image, right? Okay, yeah, Image. Okay.
So what
Yeah, because I was gonna
was
mention that one too.
No, Dark Horse is like with the
Predator and stuff, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so did y'all ever play this is old, so this is all subject, but y'all got me thinking. Y'all ever used to play Battletoads on Nintendo?
Yeah, that's a classic game. Yeah, that's like PS1, 964 stuff.
No, this is Nintendo days.
Yeah,
No, like
8-bit.
Nintendo 64. You mean right?
No, regular
No,
Nintendo.
the 8-bit Nintendo, the first Nintendo.
Oh, the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the robot.
Yeah.
No, the reason made me think about it because I used to watch Biker Mike from Mars, the shark. What's that shark cartoon?
It's called Street
Oh,
Shark.
you talking about Shark? The
Street Shark.
Street
I used
Shark.
to watch all that, so I wonder if they would remake some of this stuff. Man, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Matthew, you
You
going on the
called throwing a dog a damn
Oh,
bone.
yeah, my bad. Yeah, my bad. I'm messing your show. My bad. But
you good, man. That's
Yeah.
ain't nothing wrong. We can go there now. Well, it's towards the end. Marcus always comes at the last 10 minutes of the goddamn show, like he don't know how to tell time or something. But we gonna forgive him.
My bad, bro. I was resting in my masculinity. Hopefully, I get some dinner. My girl's making me dinner right now. Is enjoying me coming off of work. I was trying to show support. I'm a damn member, but guess what? I can cancel my membership at any time, right? This is America.
No, you can't. You make sure you renew it for next month too, motherfucker.
Yeah, I bet you. Yes. You know what? Send me a Funko Pop.
Hey, Marcus, thank you for your YouTube comments, though. I do watch and pay attention, man. Thank you for continued support. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, man. The fact that we have so many content creators now, that's the thing about it too. It's the beauty. Like in America, you can do these kinds of things, and you can you can flourish, you can grow, you can do whatever you want as long as you put the time, work, and the effort in. You know, everybody here, I think I've seen. You know, I think Matthew's a regular here who comes on panels and stuff like that. So I've seen even him. I've seen Rush do his thing, Stan do his thing, Hank, Jedi. You know, I'm just a guy that comes out in the chat or every now and then comes in supports, especially stuff like this, because I think other topics, I'm kind of like, I'm very done with the saturation of certain topics over and over again. And I'm glad that we have some of these things again here, because again, we're human. We've had lives before the pandemic, during the pandemic. We couldn't get out sometimes that much, depending what kind of work or wherever you were at in the world and the globe. The fact that people understand that we have normal human lives, we get out or we get in, watch our sports, watch our programs, get out and socialize. And the fact that this helped me socialize with more people, you know, virtually too. So I think this is what's very much needed is spaces like this, because it's bad enough that we have so much bullshit that we have to deal with every day, that we have things like this.
Yeah, you know, Hank need to change his channel to I need sports help on my text. Because his text is terrible. So he needs.
Yeah.
I didn't even have the cash app.
Shit. He's not shit. God damn it, he ain't shit. Come on, man, with all that nonsense. You know what I do with this sports thing. You know I'm that guy. I told you.
Okay. Well, I had to throw my shot before I bounce because I know he gonna try to drag me if I don't. So, but I catch up with y'all, man. And good show, Hank.
All right, now, man.
Get this guy out of here now. Get him out of here.
I gotta go. Wife got me dinner.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta get these kids dinner.
Look at you. Everybody, get them happy meals. Get the happy meals. Late dinner, man. Y'all need to see. I like that, Jedi.
No, it's only 6 p.m. out here in California.
Oh, okay, right. It's dinner time. That's dinner time.
Get them happy meals.
Right. Stan, I appreciate you coming by. Jedi Mike, once again, I appreciate you, brother.
Guys.
I
understand.
Absolutely.
Mark, I appreciate your final thought. All right, thank you. Rush, what's your final thought on the series and what do you think next with the?
My final thoughts would be that they did a great job from episode 1 all the way through 10, and I'm gonna be excited to see season 2. I think season 2 is gonna be much better, and I can't wait till they come out with season 2, man.
Well, I don't think we got a projected date yet right now, dude. They didn't project the date.
It's too soon to have a projected date, but I do believe that they already set up something for season 2 because I guess the ratings was pretty good. I mean,
oh, for sure, man, and you know what I'm saying. I hope this, as well as it did, it really pushes for them to do something with Spider-Man. I really do. I mean, I can't
wait. I can't wait for that one too.
It's like, hey, guys, let's roll the dice again. Let's see what happens. Let's try this Spider-Man. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? You know what I'm saying? We already got the backstory with it. We already got the history. They can watch all the old other Spider-Man shows. So let's do the same thing and roll the dice and see what we can do. I know
it'll be good. Because the people that used to watch the show back in the early 90s, they're still alive, man. So technically, they still have that fan base,
Mm-hmm.
You just got to get it out there,
That's it for sure. But Rush, man, I appreciate you coming up, man. I promise you, I do, man. You rocked with me last time we had the show. We said I might as well go and finish it out strong, right on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Hank. Man, I'll catch you on the flip, man.
Yes, sir.
Later.
Anytime.
All right,
Be
Rush.
easy.
Stay sucker free, Rush. Stay sucker free. All right.
Marcus, I appreciate you coming through, my brother. I promise you I do, man. Thanks for coming through like you did the last time, man. Right on, big brother.
I appreciate you for having this stream. I got to say that first, because it wasn't
Oh,
going
yeah.
this topic. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have met you, wouldn't have made you or me to come across each other and pass and become good brothers. You got a guy here, even though I'm more southern than the border. I pack my plate with beans and tortillas sometimes and some salsa, but it's a little different though. We still marinate. We still we still season our food like y'all. You know what I'm saying? So we're
Hey,
good.
we ain't gonna hold that against you, buddy. Man, we ain't gonna hold it because you're from the other side of the street. We still got love for you, brother. We still got the same struggle.
You're still invited to the cookout. Hey, listen, you guys call it a cookout. We call it a carne asada. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, look here. Next weekend I will be in Little Mexico. We call it Houston, but that's what I call it, Little Mexico down there. Because
Tex-Mex. Yeah. Get the Tex-Mex. You know what I'm saying? Get them little Juanitas. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And then next thing you know, you're gonna go down a little street vendor.
I know that's right.
Yes.
I know that's right.
Hey man, real quick though, I think overall the show, bro, I think they've already talked about how they're releasing the second season. It'll be sooner than longer than what we'll have to wait for. So it won't be as long as projected. So that's what I heard from some people that posted, like from stronger sources, and more confirmed sources. So, and then the fact that Spider-Man itself, they greenlit it to come back, and it already has the fandom following. I think this show is already great as it is. I think the only thing we've seen is characters that we haven't seen yet that come from the comics that we haven't put on the animated series yet, let alone a live action. Hopefully we get to see some Onslaught. I want to see the combined Magneto and Professor X, Onslaught. That's a Batman pajama. That's a juggernaut in itself, no pun intended. So, can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, we got you. Excuse me. Yeah, we got you.
Said, man, great show. Keep doing your thing. Keep doing the great content. Keep stacking them with them Funko Pops. Make sure I hope I can get a free box at one point because I'm a member. I'll be like a little Black Friday offering. Maybe I don't know. Maybe like a 4th of July or Memorial. You know what? Memorial Day, since I'm a veteran, I'm cashing in my card, man. Can you help out with the veterans, bro? Let me get a box. Yeah, man. But like I said, hit the notification bell, like, share, subscribe, support Hank. Support him because he will support us in return like he always has throughout these platforms. He's a good dude, genuine dude, regardless of whatever sports affiliations he has, and I have the better one. But they have rich history. I think Chicago got good food. They got good food. They got good monuments. They got the go of basketball, in my opinion. And they got probably one of the greatest players of all time in Walter Payton. You know what I'm saying? Mike Ditka. I like Mike Ditka, especially in kicking and screaming. You got Chicago Cubs and White Sox out there. So he I like the hats, I like the uniform sometimes, I like the MLB brand. But, shout out to you, bro, and the Blackhawks too. The Chicago Blackhawks, the hockey team. They don't get enough praise. Other than that, bro, you're a great dude. It was an honor to ever get to know you, and I appreciate it, God bless. Hopefully they support you, keep supporting you. And hopefully you grow big and you blow up like the World Trade. No offense.
No, that's right. Yeah, none taken. I know what you mean. Right on. I appreciate you, Marcus. Thank you for coming by, big brother. I'll catch you on the next one.
And also, don't forget, Bub, goddamn Wolverine, man. Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in theaters soon.
Man, I can't wait to July, brother. I promise you I can. I'll see you then, big brother. Be easy.
All right, bro. Eat a deep dish of Chicago-style hot dog for me on the house.
Well, is that what they serve in Houston?
No, that's what they serve in Chicago. Use my membership money. You're good. I got you.
Take a road trip up to Chicago. I got you.
There you go. Windy City.
Got to use that money for something. I know that's right. All right, Marcus. Be easy, bro. Man, great show, guys. Great show. Had fun. Guys come up here and talk about the X-Men series. Not only talk about the X-Men series, but other probably future series and movies that could be definitely in the works. we had a conversation on. So, guys, I appreciate everyone who's here. If you didn't take that time right now, please hit the like button for your boy. I appreciate that, guys. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. What you waiting on? The court order? Don't have me have the sheriff come knocking at your door to get you to subscribe. Please do that for your boy. I appreciate that. But until then, I will catch you on the next one. Looking forward to it. Y'all be easy.